Hello again, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Mission Consciousness, the podcast. I'm here today with my wonderful friend from many moons now, activist like myself back in the day. But we all come from an amazing background, and we're here today with Philly J, author, podcaster, and self-healer from a traumatic condition many moons ago. He's got so much experience in the way of natural wellness, host of the Wellness Way podcast, and the amazing event host of the Wellness Way Festival that's coming up soon, Miss Philly J. How you doing, my love?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on. What a lovely introduction. I remember the first time I met you back in 2020 on the front line.
Mm,
Wow, does that seem a long time ago now?
yeah,
What a journey mankind has been on in the last 5 years.
yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I really wanted you to come on the show is because right now, and I know everyone watching and listening will resonate with this, we're in a time where we've never experienced so much chaos, so much like fear coming into everyone's sort of field and consciousness and stuff like that. At the same time, millions of people are going through a huge shift in consciousness, day by day. They're breaking down old ego patterns. People are having dark nights of the soul, left, right, and center, and they don't know what to make of the world. That's why all this confusion's there. We've never experienced so much duality, I don't think, that I can ever remember. So I really wanted to get you on the show today, Philly, to talk about actually the Wellness Way Festival and actually what it's going to do and bring for people, from those who attend for the months ahead. Because right now, I keep saying to people, like everyone's being tested to the max. Like, can you walk through the chaos of everything that's happening right now and come out the other side? And I think people really, like we're so used to looking to things for guidance and stuff like that. Well, the Wellness Way Festival and all the amazing people that are going to be delivering talks and seminars and actual healing modalities and things like that are there to provide all of that, because they're all tools to aid people in their, in essence, their ascension journey and this powerful journey that everyone's on. Um, so just for a bit of an introduction for the people, like about the Wellness Way Festival, like what made you want to actually start it in the first place?
Well, the thing is that I mean, you said earlier that I recovered from a traumatic experience, but it was a traumatic experience, but it was a near death medical procedure. I had put my faith in Western medicine. I'd had a spinal fusion that I was told I needed, and I did. I couldn't walk, but they missed my spine with the anesthetic, and I nearly died. And I spent 2 years of my life in bed addicted to opioids and alcohol, loads of shit going on in my body. I was in a terrible condition, obviously post traumatic stress disorder, chronic fatigue, chronic brain fog, frozen shoulder, everything going on. And then one day I saw a tumor in my throat. So I went to my GP, and I ended up seeing four consultants, 4 days running, actually, because he was rather worried about me. And I kept asking if it was connected, and they do not know how to connect the body. It's not taught
Mm,
in allopathic medicine. It's just like, I'm operating on your tumor, I'm operating on your shoulder, I'm wiring up your brain. And I was so passionate that I knew, my gut completely knew that my body was connected and that there was an underlying root cause. There was something happening that was making me unbelievably sick, and my body was screaming at me. But as I said, I couldn't get out of bed. I bought loads and loads of docu-series like The Truth About Cancer, The Truth About Vaccines, The Truth About Detox. I did webinars wherever I could. I couldn't read because my eyes hurt too much. But I just tried to learn everything I could. And it's a really lonely place when you start your healing journey away from allopathic
mm,
medicine, and you can't ask your doctor because he doesn't know about it. There's been a few improvements. Dr. Rangan Chatterjee has obviously, got his podcast, and he's been teaching doctors. But, on the whole, they are stuck in a system. The average doctor does 3 hours on nutrition
mm, yeah.
in the whole of a degree. and most of that 3 hours is actually spent knowing what to put in a drip. It's not about food or lifestyle or anything like that. They're clueless. And it's not that they're bad people, the majority of them. I really don't believe they're bad people, but they're just not educated.
Mm,
And we go and put so much trust and faith in them. And I thought, what can I do to make a difference, to serve? And as you know, when 2020 happened, and I just kind of thought, oh my God, because I'd been on this massive healing journey where I'd given up Western medicine with remarkable effects. And I just thought, what can I do to serve? What can I do to help people? So in 2020, I wrote my first book, The Natural Wellness Journal, just really short and really easy, predominantly free techniques that you can do to heal yourself.
mm,
And this is the thing, we've got to make things as accessible to people as we possibly can. And we know that breath work is phenomenal. Tapping, I'm an EFT practitioner. I always say it looks as mad as shit, but it works for everything. And it does. Grounding, getting your feet on the ground, being in nature, hugging a tree. There is so much that you can do that is actually free. Forgiveness, gratitude.
mm,
The list goes on and on. So I wrote the book because I just wanted people to know what my healing journey was. And although there are some expensive things, like my food is all organic, I don't eat food from a supermarket. I have a philosophy now in life that there are two places that you have to keep out of if you want to be healthy. One is the supermarket, and the second one is the doctor's surgery. And if you do that, you're pretty much well on your way.
yeah.
Um, so, because, I trained as a dancer. So I started with diet and nutrition because that was the first thing that I knew to do. Giving up toxins, stopping wearing makeup, these are just all natural, organic, essential oils, taking all the cleaners out of your house and replacing them. I cleaned my windows the other day. Well, only one set because I got bored. But I just used white wine vinegar,
Mm,
a really cheap cleaning white wine vinegar. And I put a little bit of essential oil in there to make it smell, put a bit of drop of lemon in, and that is a lot cheaper than going and buying all of those chemicals. Taking out all those laundry detergents, fabric softener is the number one carcinogen in your house. So there is so much you can do. So I wrote the book to kind of cover my journey, and it's so simple. It's just 2 pages and with journaling. And I always took you to links to learn from the people that I learned from. So Dr. Gerald Pollack for structured water, easy water, Dr. Chatterjee for vitamin D, Dr. Bruce Lipton for the biology of belief,
yeah.
all these wonderful people, and I put them in the book. And then, as I started building social media accounts and I got taken down, spreading the health benefits of stinging nettles and
Yeah.
dandelions and radishes and breath work, I kind of thought, okay, what can I do? So I started the podcast, and I've worked through that original book to cover as many topics as I possibly can, with some of the best people in the work. So I've now had Dr. Bruce Lipton on the podcast.
Mm,
One of my favorite modalities is reflexology, and it got me through my second pregnancy without a shadow of a doubt. So with the podcast, I've been privileged enough to interview people like Tony Porter, who's kind of a guru, and he teaches people in the podcast how to do it on themselves.
mm,
So we've all got to learn to do these things. And even though my children are in their 20s, if we're having a movie night, I sit there and do reflexology on them. We've got to learn. And I just thought, okay, how do we take this to the next level? We've got to get these people on a stage together. We've got to do something. So I've started doing 2 things. For me, really importantly, is something called a health hub. And I joined up in February with World Council for Health to do the first one at the College for Naturopathic Medicine. And this time I'm joining up with the People's Health Alliance, whose initiative it was to start these health hubs. And at the moment, they're few and far between, but we're going to build them, and we're going to build this new NHS, natural health system, because people want to leave Western medicine in their droves.
Yeah.
They do. And so the festival is kind of a combination of everything I've done. It's kind of the highlight of everything I've done. And I've got loads of my podcast guests coming. We've got Barbara Oneil headlining. Barbara's been on the show 3 times, I think. We've got Charles Dowding, who, Charles is most famous for no dig gardening, but he's just released a new book on the energetics of gardening.
Wow.
I think we all kind of know now, about electroculture and, Google culture, and how, this Steiner school that was kind of founded 100 years ago, how everything was aligned to the moon, the planting seasons, and everything. We've got Gaz Oakley, who is also an amazing chef, and Gaz moved from London to Wales. And started growing all his own food and becoming a homesteader. And him and Charles are talking separately and doing a Q&A together. And so this is, Barbara is the greatest naturopath on the planet today. We have got a lineup of phenomenal people. We're going on 3 stages, plus we've got another wonderful area called community, where you can come and talk to people from my community. You can talk to, People's Health Alliance are there on the Friday. Sovereign Carl's going to be there. We've got talks on the straw man. We've got, plant medicine. AJ, you're on the plant medicine panel, because so many people want to know these things now.
Mm.
And being healthy and being well and being happy means we also have to be free. And that's freedom of our spirit and our soul and our alignment to our guides and our, we've got the amazing Susan Kennard there. I don't know if you ever heard my podcast with her. And she's going to be doing a workshop in the Yurt with calling in guides.
Wow.
Wonderful Helen Miller talking about our relationship with money. Health and wellness is not just about taking vitamins or having a healthy diet. It is a whole collective. And that's what the Wellness Way, that's what my original little book that I wrote and self-published in 2.5 months went on to become a podcast. And now we're going to take it to the next level with the festival and the health hubs.
Amazing. And, I'm very, very much looking forward to being a part of it myself. And, it's actually going to be an absolute pleasure. It's, like yourself, serving the people using, your very experiences and that for the best and good of everybody, for me is what it's all about. And, I'm very much looking forward to being there and just sharing, the stages with all these amazing people. One thing you said there was about, it's not just about the wellness, it's, the vitamins and all this kind of stuff. And you actually mentioned money there. And at the minute, there's millions of people that have never been so fearful of money because of the social engineering in this country and abroad, which has all been by design, has pushed so many people to the breadline. People are like living in fear because of it. So it's really important to look outside of that, outside of that chaos, and understand actually it's forcing you to look towards a new earth, to look towards the new modalities. Hardly anyone can get a doctor's appointment right now. So now there's never been a better time for you to learn how to heal yourself and not giving your power away and your autonomy away, waiting for a doctor to just chuck some pills at you because that's all that happens. I was exactly the same as you.
Well, that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're taught to do. They're taught to recognize the symptom and prescribe.
Mm.
And all meds have side effects. effects. And so when you get that side effect, you have to take another medicine, then you have to take another one for that side effect. So it's this kind of snowballing effect.
Mm.
But you're right, people are fearful of money at the moment, which is why we're giving all of you and you as well, AJ, we're giving you a 15% discount this week. You should get that
Yeah.
any day now. Because we do want to make this as affordable for people as possible. But
Mm.
it's a huge event to put on. We're
Mm.
taking over Wasing Woods, the Wasing Estate, which is most famous, I think everybody knows it for Medicine Festival, but it also has Solstice and Wonderment. And, it is completely sacred land, ancient woodlands, and it is magical. If you look at one of the posts I did this week there, and you can see the inside of the yurt, and you can see all the woods, and the main stage, the whole Presidium arch is all made from windfall trees. I mean, it's so beautiful there, and we're just going to be sitting and joining with the wisdom of our ancestors. And AJ, I want everybody to tell you what you're doing on the Friday night, because you're on the main stage on Friday,
Yeah.
because it's a special day and I've given you a very special time slot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to be running with the sort of like large group meditation on the 8th of the 8th at 8 p.m. on the main stage. That there's a lot of sort of like talk, but also connection around like key portals. I mean, even today we're recording this on 7th, so it's all aligned. It's all for a reason. Um, and yeah, I mean, I've spent many years now taking breath work and meditation in group settings and online and in groups and stuff like that in person. And you only need to ask anybody who's done them, the power of my sessions and where I kind of take people and what it kind of brings in and aligns for people. So I'm really looking forward to it, especially at this critical time, because you know the level of consciousness in humanity now is higher than it's ever been. I was talking the other day that like I just knew from the 4th of July there'll be like massive heart activations in people, and as soon as I put that out across social media, like the feedback's been, oh my God, I was up last night, thought I was going to have a heart attack, because my in myself feeling it in the body and in the mind, just knew this, like with the dates and alignments and everything else like that, that this would start happening. So all the people that everyone labels asleep would start getting like deep activations. And we talk, there's lots of talk about 10 days of darkness and stuff like that, and like the world's going to shut down, we're going to have all these blackouts, etc. But for me, that's never really resonated like that. It just doesn't work, because you're not experiencing your truth, right? If you're being shown a movie about like, Hillary Clinton has done this and Epstein's done that, it's like it's an internal truth that needs to awaken within. So the heart needs to activate, and then that then activates the throat where you receive more truth. That then connects to your third eye, so your intuition's a lot stronger, and then you connect to source, which is where you get obviously all your downloads and what you need for you. And that's literally happening this week as we speak, like on a mass scale. So it was always a timely thing. So by the time it gets to 8th for the 8th, we're going to be looking at people, with their energetic bodies, that their energy fields and that are going to be so much stronger. So the power and the unison that's going to be collected, like, and created there on that stage is it's going to be like an atomic bomb going off, like, sod what's going on in Israel and in Iran and nukes and that. Like, we're going to create a nuclear bomb just on that stage, which is just going to send out massive amounts of energy. Um, and people are going to create and bring in what they need. And you mentioned earlier about where people are at the minute. Like, people now see the world for what it is. So they're seeing the corruption, they're seeing the lies, they're seeing through all the different industries, and they're all there to encapsulate us and enslave us. They all work together in unison. So people are naturally stepping away from that, looking to natural ways to heal themselves, looking to things like meditation and breath work and plant medicines and things like that, because they're actually listening to their body, they're listening to their soul, they're listening to that beating drum in their chest, and they're following that calling. Um, and that's why the Wellness Way Festival is going to be a phenomenal place to actually attend. If no matter which day you go or the whole weekend, because there's it's all about you getting the tools you need for your journey, and the festival will absolutely provide all of them.
Thank you for that. I mean, that is very much our plan. And you talked there about the heart opening. And, this is something that's so important to do. So we've got a really practical thing every day on the main stage. So, as I said, you're doing the Lionsgate portal opening on the 8th of the 8th. And the following day, on the Saturday, we've got Liam Brown there from Full Power Cacao. And again, on the main stage, and everybody will be given cacao, and he's going to do, because that is for, the heart chakra, for love. And so we're just going to have, once you've opened that portal, the following day, we're going to go into just spreading that love. We've got Soma Breathwork with us. We've got so many people with us. It is just, it's in, I have to pinch myself. We finished the final schedules over the weekend. And it's been a marathon to get all of these people together and work out their timings and how we can fit everybody onto the 3 stages, and give space for people that need to be held. So we have a beautiful yurt there. We have people like the wonderful Emma Jane Taylor, who was on my podcast, who started a charity called 9010, because 90% of sexual abuses to children are from people they know within the family or close family circle. And that's going to be followed by an EFT session. So we're looking to help and guide people and hold space for them. And we will have a health hub going on. We're going to have loads of technology there of different things that you can use to support your health. We're going to have blood testing, live blood testing, vitamin testings. We're just waiting to hear back at the moment. I think we've got somebody bringing, IV drips, so that if you are lacking after your blood test, you can go and have an IV. So we're making it as practical as we possibly can. One other person I've got to tell you, we've got Emma Estrella there, who's Wim Hof's right-hand woman. So she does all the trainings with Wim. And she's coming in, and it's going to be a small extra cost, this, because we've got to hire the lake at Wasing as a separate thing. But we're making it, as affordable as we can. And you'll have a kind of a session with Emma doing the Wim Hof method of the breath work, and then wild water swimming. And then you get a beautiful organic juice when you get out. So we're trying to put something for absolutely everybody there. And we need to party. It's a festival. We have spent so long in fear, and fear suppresses the immune system. 1 minute's fear suppresses the immune system for 7 to 8 hours. 1 minute's laughter boosts the immune system for 24 hours. I mean, how extraordinary is that? So we've got Chris Preedy, OBE, doing stand-up comedy. And I went to his birthday a few months ago to see his stand-up, because I'd never seen it. And it's about trauma. Oh my God, I nearly wet myself. He is absolutely hysterical, that you just wouldn't believe it was trauma. But he kind of re-imprinted it all. And it was just great. All words have meanings. You and I have talked about that for years. So we've got Rebecca Archer there, who's going to be doing poetry workshops, and then an open mic. We need music. So we've got Mobius Loop, we've got Danny Rampling DJing, we've got Velcro Pom Pom. People, I'm sure, will bring their own instruments, because we've got fire pits going all over the place. So bring your guitars, bring your drums, and let's celebrate, kind of, dancing. We've got lots of dancing going on. Louise Karen Harris, who was on my podcast, she's doing ecstatic dancing one evening, 2 evenings, I think, actually. So, it's this whole mix, because there isn't one thing that will help you heal. No. It's getting the balance right, and I say in my book, kind of virtually on every page, dance like no one's watching, get in the shower and sing, and we've got to be doing all of these little things that again are free.
Yeah.
You can download some music on Spotify and have a boogie. It got me through the lockdowns, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I totally get you. And you're right. It's like, you know, we don't have to like try absolutely everything. This is about like you connecting to yourself now, and you feeling into like what actually serves you. It's the same like, but obviously we serve plant medicines and we take people abroad to Portugal for plant medicine receipts, but like not everyone at this time is called to plant medicine and might not ever be because they're not supposed to, and that's absolutely fine. But there's other things out there that very much are for them, what suits them, and what they actually need. So just ask yourself, like, what do you need? And you'll find literally there's something for you at the festival that will cover and tick all those boxes. So, I always say, like, whether it's our events or even the retreats or anything like that, or even the stuff we hold at home, the hardest part is actually getting there. It always is. The hardest part is actually having that courage and doing something for you and standing in that space of like, you're doing this for you, you're taking your power back, you're taking your sovereignty back. It's all part of it. And the
Yeah.
hardest part is just getting there. Once you're there, it's like you don't want to frigging leave. Um, you know,
Okay. And
and
you're going to be surrounded by like-minded people,
yeah.
people that all want to learn. I mean, I wasn't called to the plant until I was 60, I think was the first time I was
Mm,
called to the plant. But when it's calling you,
mm,
and the great thing is you're going to be there. There are lots of other lovely people there as well. Rob Kay, who's been on my podcast, he's going to be there. He's helps a huge amount of people as well. Have the conversation. So, this is what it's about. It's about, sitting around the fire at night, having the conversations, finding out what is right for you at this moment in time.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So in terms of like dates and times and that, what what sort of dates and times can people expect to be at the wellness festival for?
Okay, well, we've got our first event on Tuesday, the 5th of August, at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London, which is a health hub. So, this is a pure health hub. Barbara Oneil is the only speaker on the main stage. She's doing the same talk morning and afternoon. So, you come and see her on either one of the days, morning sessions, and then the other half you spend with practitioners doing workshops. And again, we've got the lovely Rob Kay, we've got Penny Kroll, we've got Clive de Carl. He's going to be there with his
Oh, cool.
magic chairs as well. And then we've got 14 different practitioners. We've got exhibitors there, so you can go and learn about the benefits of Kangen water or DMSO, or, all of these people will be there. So that's great. And then the main festival hits off on the 8th of the 8th, which is the Friday. We have VIP tickets available as well. So this is a much smaller little gathering, and I hope you're coming to our VIP lunch. AJ, you're on my guest list. So that will be at 12 noon at inside the event. Barbara will obviously be there. Dr. Jenny Goodman, whose book, about toxic times, she'll
Mm.
be there. She's a talker. Dr. Sam Watt will be there. The lineup is extraordinary. I mean, really, really extraordinary. And so that's going to be a kind of kickoff, and that's at 12 noon. And you also get the Emma Strayer cold water experience, as long with the wonderful VIP lunch. You get a goodie bag, and you get access to the backstage, the green room, to meet all the speakers over the weekend. And then we open the doors at 2 o'clock, and there's going to be yoga on the main stage, just as a little warm up while anybody's coming in. So if they want to do warm, yoga and stretch, or they might just want to lie down and, relax and ground on the grass, whatever they want. And then at 3 o'clock, I do the opening ceremony and the introduction to Barbara Oneil. And that is the kickoff on the Friday. Saturday, and we go through till 11:30 at night. So the passes are £210 for the whole weekend, but that's all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Saturday, we've got stuff going on from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11:30 at night. 8 o'clock in the morning, I think on the Saturday, we've got the Seed Sisters, they're called, and they represent, along with themselves, the Herb Society, and they're going to be doing a plant talk on herbs. And then they're going to take people off on a forage. So if you want to forage, I mean, we have got everything covered here. And then we've got breath work and yoga and, two different breath works, everything going on in that morning. Then on the Saturday, Barbara comes back on stage. We've got Dr. Tina Pierce on the Friday. I must mention Dr. Tina Pierce. She's been on my podcast. She was a doctor, GP, who was damaged by the injection. And she discovered something called augmented NAC, which changed her damage.
Yeah.
So she's going to talk about that. We're going to have My Medical Choice on stage with her as well. And Nikita Stark is going to be there as an ambassador for the People's Health Alliance, and also doing her own talk on, when push comes to shove. Because we are birthing this new world, but she's not just going to talk about childbirth. She's going to talk about birthing this new world.
Beautiful. I love
That's
Nikita.
what we're here to do.
Amazing.
So that is the whole program. So Saturday is a really, really long day. Sunday we're starting at 8 o'clock again. I think we've got another forage and yoga and breath work. And then we finish at, I think it's at 6 o'clock on the Sunday.
Brilliant.
But you're going to be absolutely exhausted and ecstatic by then. And you're going to want to go home to your bed and process what you've just been through.
And that includes obviously camping as well.
That includes your camping pass, and you've got your 15% discount, but that's your camping pass. So I think it's, for what you're going to learn and the amount of speakers you've got there. I've been very open and honest about this. I've had to remortgage my house to put this festival on. It's costing a fortune. And I'm it's very unlikely I'm going to make any money, and it's very likely my house will have to be on the market by the end of the year. But I believe so passionately that we have to give people this information. And it's great that people like you and I do podcasts, but nothing beats community.
No.
Actually being there.
Yep. And I speak from experience. We've built a phenomenal community over the last few years with several hundred people in. That's why we're always having gatherings here at our home in Lincolnshire, just to get people together. And it's what's beautiful about it is the level of conversations is completely different from what you ever get in the workplace or anything, because everybody in these spaces are just their authentic self. There's no judgment. They're like, no one actually cares what you do for a living, really. Do you know what I mean? It's like, or how many siblings you got or anything. It's just like, it's just a continual energy exchange between people all the time, because you're buzzing off each other. And we've all been in a room where you walk in and you could feel the bad energy, right? You're like, ugh. You walk into a wake, right? Like 9 times out of 10, like it's just negative energy, right? But you've also been in many places where you feel like really high vibe, and you almost get drunk by proxy, right? You don't even need to like get on the wine, because you feel the energy is within your body.
Yeah.
And that's what community is all about. And community has been one of the biggest things that's gone missing because of the social engineering, the agendas that have taken place within our country, especially. It's been purely there to divide and conquer and rip apart communities, so that everyone just stays in their little houses, living a box to box life, getting more unhealthy by the day. And
watching the television.
Yeah, exactly. So
programs you.
Exactly. So it's just how it's showing people to break away from all of this, and actually what's on the other side of all of that, which just programs you with more fear, is nothing but like pure health, wellness, oneness, connection, community, like high spirits, like the health benefits of everything that's there. Because if you were to get every single person there, that's going or wants to come, you get them all there right now. Every single person's got a different story. Every single person's got a different path. Every single person's got different battles going on. And that's the beauty of it. And then it's like, you're just going to learn, not just from the speakers, you'll learn so much from the people you actually just meet, who are
From each
there.
other. We actually have a washing line going up, and we're going to have some pen and paper and some clips, and we'd like to invite people, if you want to, you don't have to put your name to it, but just to write my story and hang
Brilliant.
it up on the washing line so that people can come in there and read other people's story. I've got a wonderful community that I run, and we have monthly Zooms. You very kindly came on it once, AJ. And we have a very lively WhatsApp group, and we have some really heart-wrenching stories, and I
Mm.
want people to be able to share those and to feel heard.
Yeah.
We've got another lovely lady, Jade, who's coming, and her podcast, I filmed my podcast with her, but it hasn't come out yet. But she had the most horrific thing happen to her. That is, when I read her email, I wept like a baby, because a few years ago she was in a house fire, and she couldn't get to her children, but the fire brigade were there, and they were screaming at her to jump. And so she thought they had her children. So she jumped out of the top floor window, but her children were dead inside the fire.
Wow.
And
Tragic.
she wouldn't have jumped had she known. And she broke her spine in 5 places. And they told her that she would never walk again. And she had to come round with the trauma of knowing that she left a building where her children were dying, and she was being told she could never walk again. And, as my mum always said, you can do anything you can put your mind to. And within 6 weeks, she walked again.
Yeah.
She just thought, I'm not going to be. I want stories like that to be heard,
Mm.
people that don't have a high profile or anything, but just, kind of, those stories need to be heard. Everybody's stories need to be heard. So we're going to have our washing line up, so you can do your story.
Amazing. Love it. So where's the best place for people to go to get their tickets for the festival?
So we have a new webpage, thewellnesswayfestival.com. We're still kind of building it. This is I can't believe what I decided to do, AJ. It's just like, normally people plan festivals for kind of a year or more, but we have thewellnesswayfestival.com. For the Health Hub, you can find me on phillyjlay.com. Sign up to my newsletter on phillyjlay.com, because we're getting out lots of information as soon as we get it. There'll be an email this week with the full detailed lineup. That will also be coming out on the Wellness Way podcast account and Philly J Lay on Instagram. So, we're working round the clock here. We're not a big team, but we are all hugely committed, and we're working round the clock to just make this the best festival we possibly can for you.
Absolutely. And I'll be sure to put all the links in the show notes, as well as the discount code that you can get for your 15% off
And
off
we
the.
also have day tickets as well, because I
Yeah.
understand a lot of people can't commit for a whole weekend because they have, other things going on. So it's £99 for the Friday, 119, I think, for the Saturday, and 99 for the Sunday. And the only reason the Friday and Saturday are a bit short, are cheaper, is because they're a bit shorter. Saturday is the big day, but even if you just want to come along and talk to, we've got Dr. Nick Thompson there, the holistic vet, who's now the vet to my new puppy. Amazing learning about raw dog food. We've got Dr. Dan Sutcliffe if you want to go and talk about your teeth. We are covering everything.
Yeah, I think I'll be talking to Dr. Dan Sutcliffe.
I think you will.
um, yeah, but no, I mean, like, we talk about costs and stuff like that, but like we're at a stage now where people need to understand that, like, this whole monetary system that we've been engulfed in is an illusion to keep us in fear and keep us in these loops, keep us paying our taxes, keep us doing all this stuff. So, honestly, like, take the time now to think about yourself. Think about what you want to do in the future, what you want to create, what part of New Earth do you actually want to be involved in? And it involves, like, not looking at things as a cost, but actually an investment. It's an investment in you. It's invested in your mind, your body, your soul, and your family, your community. You're investing in meeting people. Like, you'll always meet the right people at the right time, and they've all got messages and keys and codes for you if you haven't worked out they were in this game yet. And you're going to find them in abundance at the Wellness Way Festival. But thank you so much for coming on, Philly, and giving us a spiel about what people can actually look forward to. I think it's really important to get this message out there now as we're nearing, the start of the whole week leading up to the Wellness Way Festival at the start of August. I'm thoroughly looking forward to being there, and thank you for giving me the honor of actually being on the main stage and
Oh,
practicing my
AJ,
craft, and giving me the opportunity to do what I do best, and take people to
AJ,
a nice
I
place.
wouldn't be there without you. You have been a rod by my side for the last 5 years, and I just bless you with all of my heart for everything you do, not just for me, but for the community and for mankind, for your service. And I cannot wait to have you there.
Yeah, thank you. Guys and girls, as ever, all I ask is that you share this podcast with at least one person. There's at least one person in your life that might be in a bit of a difficult place right now. So send this podcast to them. Send them the details of the Wellness Way Festival. Take them there. Get yourself there. And I can't wait to see many of you face to face. I know there's a lot of people from my own community that are going to be coming. So if you're listening to this, click the link, get your tickets, clear your diary, and like do something for you. But for me and Philly, for now, we'll look forward to seeing you there. Look after yourself, look after your wellness, and we'll see you all on the 8th of the 8th. Much love.